Sonnet 89. Say that thou didst forsake me for some fault, and I will comment upon that offence. Speak of my lameness, and I straight will halt against thy reasons, making no defence. Thou canst not, love, disgrace me half so ill, to set a form upon desired change, as I'll myself disgrace, knowing thy will. I will acquaintance strangle, and look strange, be absent from thy walks, and in my tongue thy sweet beloved name no more shall dwell, lest I, too much profane, should do it wrong, and haply of our old acquaintance tell. For thee, against myself I'll vow debate, for I must never love him whom thou dost hate.
Sonnet 90. Then hate me when thou wilt, if ever, now, now while the world is bent my deeds to cross, join with the spite of fortune, make me bow, and do not drop in for an after loss. Ah, do not, when my heart hath escaped this sorrow, come in the rearward of a conquered woe. Give not a windy night a rainy morrow, to linger out a purposed overthrow. If thou wilt leave me, do not leave me last, when other petty griefs have done their spite, but in the onset come, so shall I taste at first the very worst of fortune's might, and other strains of woe, which now seem woe, compared with loss of thee will not seem so.
Sonnet 91. Some glory in their birth, some in their skill, some in their wealth, some in their body's force, some in their garments, though new-fangled ale, some in their hawks and hounds, some in their horse, and every humour hath his adjunct pleasure, wherein it finds a joy above the rest. But these particulars are not my measure. All these I better in one general best. Thy love is better than high birth to me, richer than wealth, prouder than garments cost, of more delight than hawks or horses be. In having thee, of all men's pride I boast. Wretched in this alone, that thou mayst take all this away, and me most wretched make.
Sonnet 92. But do thy worst to steal thyself away, for term of life thou art assured mine, and life no longer than thy love will stay, for it depends upon that love of thine. Then need I not to fear the worst of wrongs, when in the least of them my life hath end. I see a better state to me belongs than that which on thy humour doth depend. Thou canst not vex me with inconstant mind, since that my life on thy revolt doth lie. Oh, what a happy title do I find, happy to have thy love, happy to die. But what so blessed fair that fears no blot? Thou mayst be false, and yet I know it not.
Sonnet 93. So shall I live, supposing thou art true, like a deceived husband, so love's face may still seem love to me, though altered new. thy looks with me, thy heart in other place. For there can live no hatred in thine eye, therefore in that I cannot know thy change. In many's looks, the false heart's history is writ in moods and frowns and wrinkles strange. But heaven in thy creation did decree that in that face sweet love should ever dwell, whate'er thy thoughts or thy heart's workings be. Thy looks should nothing thence but sweetness tell. How like Eve's apple doth thy beauty grow, in thy sweet virtue answered not thy show.
Sonnet 94. They that have power to hurt and will do none, that do not do the thing they must do show, who, moving others, are themselves a stone, unmoved, cold, and to temptation slow, they rightly do inherit heaven's graces, and husbands nature's riches from expense. They are the lords and owners of their faces, others but stewards of their excellence. The summer's flower is to the summer sweet, though to itself it only live and die. But if that flower with base infection meet, the basest weed outbraves his dignity. For sweetest things turn sourest by their deeds. Lilies that fester smell far worse than weeds.
Sonnet 95. How sweet and lovely dost thou make the shame, which like a canker in the fragrant rose, doth spot the beauty of thy body name. Oh, in what sweets dost thou thy sins enclose! That tongue that tells the story of thy days, making lascivious comments of thy sport, cannot dispraise but in a kind of praise, naming the name, blesses an ill report. Oh, what a mansion have those vices got, which for their habitation chose out thee! For beauty's veil doth cover every blot, and all things turns to fair that eyes can see. Take heed, dear heart, of this large privilege. The hardest knife ill used doth lose his edge.
Sonnet 96. Some say thy fault is youth, some wantonness. Some say thy grace is youth and gentle sport. Both grace and faults are loved of more and less. Thou makest false graces that to thee resort. As on the finger of a throned queen the basest jewel will be well esteemed, so are those errors that in thee are seen, to truths translated and for true things deemed. How many lamps might the stern wolf betray, if like a lamp he could his looks translate? How many gazers mightest thou lead away, if thou wouldest use the strength of all thy state? But do not so. I love thee in such sort as, thou being mine, mine is thy good report.
Sonnet 97. How like a winter hath my absence been from thee, the pleasure of the fleeting year! What freezings have I felt, what dark days seen! What all December's bareness everywhere, and yet this time removed what summer's time, the teeming autumn, big with rich increase, bearing the wanton burden of the prime. Like widowed wombs after their lord's decease, yet this abundant issue seemed to me but hope of orphans and unfathered fruit, for summer and his pleasures wait on thee, and thou away, the very birds are mute, or if they sing, 'tis with so dull a cheer, that leaves look pale, dreading the winter's near.
Sonnet 98. From you have I been absent in the spring, when proud-pied April, dressed in all his trim, hath put a spirit of youth in everything, that heavy Saturn laughed and lived with him. Yet nor the lays of birds, nor the sweet smell of different flowers in odor and in hue, could make me any summer's story tell, or from their proud lap pluck them where they grew. Nor did I wonder at the lilies white, nor praise the deep vermilion in the rose. They were but sweet, but figures of delight, drawn after you, you pattern of all those. Yet seemed it winter still, and you away, as with your shadow I with this did play.
Sonnet 99. The forward violet thus did I chide, sweet thief, whence didst thou steal thy sweet that smells, if not from my love's breath? The purple pride, which on thy soft cheek for complexion dwells, in my love's veins thou hast too grossly dyed. The lily I condemned for thy hand, and buds of marjoram had stolen thy hair. The roses fearfully on thorns did stand, one blushing shame, another white despair, a third, nor red nor white, had stolen of both, and to his robbery had annexed thy breath. But for his theft, in pride of all his growth, a vengeful conquer ate him up to death. More flowers I noted, yet I none could see, but sweet or color it had stolen from thee.
Sonnet 100. Where art thou, Muse, that thou forgettest so long to speak of that which gives thee all thy might? Spendest thou thy fury on some worthless song, darkening thy power to lend base objects light? Return, forgetful Muse, and straight redeem in gentle numbers time so idly spent. Sing to the ear that doth thy lays esteem, and gives thy pen both skill and argument. Rise, resty Muse, my love's sweet face survey, if time have any wrinkle graven there. If any, be a satire to decay, and make time's spoils despised everywhere. Give my love fame faster than time wastes life, so thou preventest his scythe and crooked knife.
Sonnet 101. O truant Muse, what shall be thy amends for thy neglect of truth in beauty died? Both truth and beauty on my love depends. So dost thou too, and the rain dignify. Make answer, Muse. Wilt thou not haply say, Truth needs no colour, with his colour fixed. Beauty, no pencil, beauty's truth to lay. But best is best, if never intermixed. Because he needs no praise, wilt thou be dumb? Excuse not silence so, for 't lies in thee, to make him much outlive a gilded tomb, and to be praised of ages yet to be. Then do thy office, Muse, I teach thee how, to make him see long hence as he shows now.
Sonnet 102. My love is strengthened, though more weak in seeming. I love not less, though less the show appear. That love is merchandised, whose rich esteeming the owner's tongue doth publish everywhere. Our love was new, and then but in the spring, when I was wont to greet it with my lace, as Philomel in summer's front doth sing, and stops his pipe in growth of riper days. Not that the summer is less pleasant now than when her mournful hymns did hush the night, but that wild music burdens every bough, and sweets grown common lose their dear delight. Therefore, like her, I sometime hold my tongue, because I would not dull you with my song.
Sonnet 103. Alack, what poverty my Muse brings forth, that, having such a scope to show her pride, the argument all bare is of more worth than when it hath my added praise beside. Oh, blame me not if I no more can write. Look in your glass, and there appears a face that overgoes my blunt invention quite, dulling my lines and doing me disgrace. Were it not sinful, then, striving to mend, to mar the subject that before was well? For to no other pass my verses tend, than of your graces and your gifts to tell. And more, much more, than in my verse can seat, your own glass shows you when you look in it.
Sonnet 104. To me, fair friend, you never can be old, for as you were when first your eye I eyed, such seems your beauty still. 3 winters cold have from the forest shook 3 summers' pride. 3 beauteous springs to yellow autumn turned in process of the seasons have I seen. 3 April perfumes in 3 hot Junes burned, since first I saw you fresh, which yet are green. Ah, yet doth beauty, like a dial hand, steal from his figure, and no pace perceived. So your sweet hue, which methinks still doth stand, hath motion, and mine eye may be deceived. For fear of which, hear this, thou age unbred, ere you were born was beauty's summer dead.
Sonnet 105. Let not my love be called idolatry, nor my beloved as an idol show, since all alike my songs and praises be, to one, of one, still such and ever so. Kind is my love today, tomorrow kind, still constant in a wondrous excellence. Therefore, my verse to constancy confine, one thing expressing lives out of difference. Fair, kind, and true, it's all my argument. Fair, kind, and true, varying to other words. And in this change is my invention spent. Three themes in one, which wondrous scope affords. Fair, kind, and true, have often lived alone, with three till now never kept sit in one.
Sonnet 106. When in the chronicle of wasted time I see descriptions of the fairest wights, and beauty making beautiful old rhyme in praise of ladies dead and lovely knights, then in the blazon of sweet beauty's best, of hand, of foot, of lip, of eye, of brow, I see their antique pen would have expressed even such a beauty as you master now. So all their praises are but prophecies of this our time, all your prefiguring, and, for they looked but with divining eyes, they had not skill enough your worth to sing. For we, which now behold these present days, have eyes to wonder, but lack tongues to praise.
Sonnet 107. Not mine own fears, not the prophetic soul of the wide world dreaming on things to come, can yet the lease of my true love control, supposed as a forfeit to a confined doom. The mortal moon hath her eclipse endure, and the sad augurs mock their own presage. Uncertainties now crown themselves assured, and peace proclaims olives of endless age. Now, with the drops of this most balmy time, my love looks fresh, and death to me subscribes. Since, spite of him, I lived in this poor rhyme, while he insults o'er dull and speechless stripes. And thou in this shalt find my monument, when tyrants' crests and tombs of brass are spent.
Sonnet 108. What's in the brain that ink may character which hath not figured to thee my true spirit? What's new to speak, what now to register, that may express my love or thy dear merit? Nothing, sweet boy, but yet, like prayers divine, I must each day say over the very same, counting no old thing old, thou mine, I thine, even as when first I hallowed thy fair name. So that eternal love in love's fresh case weighs not the dust and injury of age, nor gives to necessary wrinkles place, but makes antiquity for aye his page. Finding the first conceit of love there bred, where time and outward form would show it dead.
Sonnet 109. Oh, never say that I was false of heart, though absence seemed my flame to qualify. As easy might I from myself depart, as from my soul, which in thy breast doth lie. That is my home of love. If I have ranged, like him that travels, I return again, just to the time, not with the time exchanged, so that myself bring water for my stain. Never believe, though in my nature range all frailties that beseech all kinds of blood, that it could so preposterously be stained, to leave for nothing all thy sum of good. For nothing this wide universe I call, save thou, my rose, in it thou art my all.
Sonnet 110. Alas, 'tis true, I have gone here and there, and made myself a motley to the view, gored mine own thoughts, sold cheap what is most dear, made all offences of affections new. Most true it is that I have looked on truth askance and strangely, but by all above, these blenches gave my heart another youth, and worse essays prove thee my best of love. Now all is done, have what shall have no end. Mine appetite I never more will grind on newer proof, to try an older friend, a God in love, to whom I am confined. Then give me welcome, next my heaven the best, even to thy pure and most loving breast.